Sensum communum.
Sensum communum
is Latin.
For common sense?
From which we get common sense, and with the help of listeners, Jim Wolfe and others, we have divined Sensum's razor. Common sense cannot exist in public matters because too many other variables come into play. Boy, I shorten it up every time I say it.
Do you want me to read it, or I actually really like what you just said.
Yeah.
I think yours was very concise there.
We have a great example, not only for here but for the entire country, of Sensum's razor. Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, on the one hand, he's either patting himself on the back or expects to be patted on the back because he's put his foot down. And he said, look, city council, you just can't make up your mind, so I'm going to make up our minds for us. And we're going to build a new third precinct on some city-owned vacant land about 3 or 4 blocks north of Lake Street, right on Hiawatha.
Okay.
No, it's 26th and Minnehaha.
I'm sorry, Minnehaha.
But you're right. The distance between Hiawatha and Minnehaha at that point is about a half a block. It's
we
not
call
long.
it negligible.
Yeah, it's
and
very,
here you
very
have
short.
a third precinct dwelling that exists, and it needs to be It needs to be renovated at a price that would be considerably cheaper than building a new one. But they can't do it because of Sensum's razor. They can't do it because equity comes into play, and diversity and hurt feelings, however real or imagined, that we can't put the third precinct back on the same location where it was on the night of the riots due to the George Floyd spring. Why, that would upset too many people.
Yes.
And again, Sensum's razor, what that takes away is the ability of a public official to say, go bleep yourself. You can't do it.
Yeah.
So taxpayers of Minneapolis will be once again taken to the cleaners, just like the taxpayers of Minnesota are being taken to the cleaners on the renovation of the governor's mansion. They're not the same case, but it's the same in the sense of being taken to the cleaners. On Lake Street and, Minnehaha is the existing third precinct?
Yes.
Lake and Minnehaha, and I don't know what it would cost to fix it, but it's a sound structure. As the real estate people say, it has great bones. So all you got to do is go in and clean it, repaint it, new windows.
Let's go.
Whatever it needs.
Mop up the floor.
And you're done. And here is Fry, who wishes to be commended for this. I'm going to make a decision. Okay, that's great. But the decision is estimated to be between $22 and $26 million, and you know that will go up.
As will the renovation for the other one on Lake Street.
Yeah, but you're starting from a different groundwork. The building on Lake Street already exists.
Right. You can say the shell already exists.
Go in and fix it up.
Like you just mentioned, the cost overruns that we've learned from the governor's mansion and from, like Chris mentioned yesterday, that Southwest rail line. It's just exorbitant. It's insane.
Okay. This intrigues the hell out of me because I've said before, I'm going back to some old theories now. Even these DFL legislators, they have lives outside the Capitol. Many of them do have kids, not many of the DFL, but enough to say, now, those kids have to have shoes, and they got to get school supplies, and they go to the grocery store, and they got to put gas in their car, and they have to buy new tires for their car. They have to... the TV's on the blink. They got to maybe buy a new TV. They're dealing with the real world just like the rest of us. What happens when they walk inside the Capitol building? What happens to them? Sensum's razor.
Yeah, their brains are set in stone.
They're so infused now with maybe what is this new sense of decision-making and power that they lose sight of their life outside the doors of that building. Because when they take the little kid to the shoe store because he needs new shoes, they're not dealing with a clerk who said, well, these shoes were $12 yesterday, but because the cost of materials has increased, these shoes today are $67. They're not dealing with that. And if they are, you know what they're going to say? Well, I'm going elsewhere then. I'm not going to pay $67 for these shoes. I'm going to go elsewhere and probably still find them for $12 to $15, which is, I'm being low on the price.
I think you're giving them way too much credit. Because the life on the third rail, once they walk into that door, their sole mission is to maintain that life on the third rail.
But they can't do that out in their real life.
Well, I guess you're asking, how can they separate their real life from this pot of money?
No, here's what I'm saying. It's finally becoming clear in my head. If it weren't for Sensum's razor, every single council member in Minneapolis would say to Fry, and Fry himself would be saying, wait a minute, we're going to just fix up the third precinct because that makes the most sense. That's common sense. We have a building. It's perfectly located. We have to rebuild it. That's common sense.
Okay, in their personal life, that's what they would do.
They would have to do that.
In their personal life, that's what they would do.
Right.
But what's missing from today's stories, and I'm looking at two different versions, is the dollar figures. All we have is that 22 to 26 million. So I Googled what it would cost to replace the third precinct, the existing building, and I found an article in the Strib from 2020 that says it would cost $10 million. And this article is all about getting a grant, a $16 million in disaster aid from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA.
Your money.
FEMA.
Yep.
But that agency had denied that request in 2020, and Walz said he was trying to appeal that decision. I have not seen any mention of FEMA in these most recent stories.
Okay,
so
let's take
maybe
FEMA
all
out of it.
Yeah, all of Minneapolis, obviously, from what I'm deducting here, is on the hook.
Yeah, so this is taxpayer money.
Yeah.
So common sense answer is let's spend as little tax money as possible, and we have that opportunity because we have an existing building right there on Lake and Minnehaha.
And even if it was 10 million in 2020, what is it today? It'd be 16 million.
Okay, that's still cheaper than 22 to 26, which will become 30 to 34.
Right. Yeah, right.
Well, all I can do is put that out there. I can't do anything about it. The taxpayers of Minneapolis won't do anything about it. They've demonstrated their voting proclivities, and they're dreadful.
It's extremely irresponsible, if you ask me, for the mayor and the Star Tribune to not include a detailed financial report.
Right.
You're just hoodwinking the citizens that are reading the paper.
And, well, the real hoodwinking is Fry pretending that he's Action Man.
Right. He doesn't do anything.
Fry, you little twerp, you have a building there. The real action that you could have demonstrated was to say, enough of this BS, we're fixing up the third precinct. If your feelings are hurt, that's too bleeping bad.
And help me, wasn't he in favor of doing that as recently as a few weeks ago when he was fighting the downtown location?
Well, he was fighting the downtown location, but I don't know that equaled defending the current location.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Oh, man. Here's your weekend.
I love Minneapolis, by the way.
Yes.
Love Minneapolis.
From 3 hours away.